Hi there, my name is Alan Lamont. I'm bringing a message about the Rothschilds. It's very important to understand their real position because people elevate them to a position they don't have. A lot of people say the Rothschilds control the New World Order, they control the One World Government. They don't. They are papal and royal knights. They're Jesuit controlled. For those who doubt the balance of power between the Rothschilds, British royalty and the papacy, what they have to understand is that the Rothschilds are under control of the Black Pope. They always have been, since the very foundation of the Illuminati. They're Vatican Knights. That's as high as they go within the grand scheme of things. They're just Vatican Knights of Rome. The Rothschilds are under the power of the British Crown. They are Knights of the British Empire, under the power of the Order of the Garter. And of course the Rothschilds do fund the international drug trade. They're war bankers primarily, but they also move money around the stock markets, control the stock markets. That's the truth. They control finance. They're involved in politics, primarily military intelligence. That's their position. They're elite knights. That's what I'll call them. The Rothschilds are elite knights. They're connected to the knighthood orders. For instance, the Knights of Malta and also the Franco-Neapolitan branch of the Constantinian order. But they're part of what's called the black nobility. But they are not in control of the Vatican's wealth. It's very important to understand, because when a lot of people talk about the Rothschilds, they make them out to be this all-powerful group in this bloodline that control all of the bloodlines, they control all governments, and they control the whole of the banking system. Even going too far as to say that they control the Vatican's wealth. Now, their title is Guardians of the Vatican Treasury, but it doesn't mean they control the Vatican's treasury. How anyone can think that the Rothschilds are the pinnacle of power is really beyond me, really, because they're powerful, but they're under the power of the Jesuits. They are the bankers for the Society of Jesus. But there are many other bloodlines that you don't hear about simply because they're not Jews. Let me explain that. When it comes to the real hidden New World Order, it is the Vatican. And behind the Vatican, of course, you have the Jesuits in control. They're at the top of this power structure, but really there are also other banking bloodlines. Let me explain them. You have the Medici, you have the Breakspear, Orsini, Farnese. These are from Rome. These are Italian papal bloodlines. Of course we don't hear about them because they're not Jewish. And of course the Jesuit order continually have to bring out this dead theory that the Rothschilds control the world. Let me explain the background of the Rothschilds and their banking dynasty. When it comes to the Rothschilds themselves, understand that, for instance, in 2002, the Rothschilds themselves, as in, Baron Rothschild, was made a Knight Grand Cross of the Order of the British Empire in 1998. Also, that order, for instance, with the Rothschilds goes back to 1885. Since 1885, the Rothschilds have been under the power of the British Crown. They're barons, that's what they are. Within the British structure, they're barons. But also that title, the baronet for the Rothschilds, goes back to 1847, and the current Baron von Rothschild, which is an Austrian Empire title, dates back to 1822. And so we see in history that the Rothschilds were always under the power of the British Crown. It doesn't mean they serve the Queen Elizabeth, although she is a dame of the Knight of Malta. It really means that the Rothschilds have no more power. They can't rise above the monarchies, because the monarchies have more power than the black nobility. And that's all the Rothschilds are. They're merely the black nobility household. That's what they are. Lord Victor Rothschild, who is the third Baron of the bloodline Rothschild, was made a Knight Grand Cross of the British Empire in 1975, and was also a Knight of the Queen's Order of St. John. So they're an Order of the British Empire and an Order of the Knight of St. John. But the Queen is the sovereign of the Order of St. John, and of the Order of St. Michael and St. George. This is why Jewish President Edmond Paris was knighted with the honorary knighthood into the Order of St. Michael and St. George. You will find that the Jewish bloodlines that are high in the Vatican knighthood structure, they're always under the power of the Order of St. John, from Her Majesty the Queen, the Sovereign of the Order, who is a Dame of the Order of St. John in Great Britain. This is how the power structure works. So people that say that the Jews rule the New World Order, what they always leave out is this knighthood power structure. And you can prove, if you look into the Vatican knighthoods, that really the Rothschilds are really subordinate to the Queen. In the same way that the Queen is also subordinate to the papacy, and ultimately to the Jesuit general. This is the power structure of the one world government today. The Jesuit general is in command of the Queen, and Queen Elizabeth II is a Dame of the Knights of Malta. She's the head of the Order of the Garter, and therefore under that you have Sir Evelyn and Lord Jacob Rothschild, who is head of the banking system. Doesn't mean he controls the banking system. It just means that he launders money, he moves money around, he has oversight of the banking system. That's all it means. And of course he has authority within the stock markets, but he doesn't control the banking system. That's really what I'm bringing out in this video. So people have to really put the Rothschilds in the right position, okay? They're not above the Jesuit general, they're not above the Pope of Rome, they're not above the monarchies, they're not above the papal bloodlines of Italy. They're not. Also, the grandfather of Lord Jacob Rothschild and the great-great-great-grandfather of Sir Elvin and David Rothschild, which is called Mayer Amschel Rothschild, was the founder of the Rothschild International Banking Dynasty, and he was made an Imperial Holy Roman Empire Crown Agent. That's right, he was a Crown Agent. That's all he was, an agent of the Crown. Let me say that again. Mayer Amschel Rothschild, the founder of the Rothschild International Banking Dynasty, was made an Imperial Holy Roman Empire Crown Agent in 1800. And Evelyn de Rothschild's grandfather, Leopold de Rothschild, was invested as a Commander, Royal Victorian Order. That means he was also under the power of Queen Victoria. And in 1902, Leopold's brother, Sir Nathan Mayer Rothschild, who was the great-grandfather of Lord Jacob Rothschild, was invested as a Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, GCVO. Also in 1902, Leopold and Nathan Mayer's parents were Baron Lionel Nathan de Rothschild and Charlotte de Rothschild. Both were Vatican Knights, and a Dame, of course. That's as high as they go within the structure of this papal one world government. So what I'm doing now on the channel is, bringing out a lot more revelation, and there's an article on this, and I would suggest that people go to a website called TroySpace. Very good website regarding the papal bloodlines. But with the Rothschilds, they do have power. That's unmistakable. That's undeniable. They do have power over the banking system, but they're not in control of it. Far from it. Far from it. You will find that Rome is in control of the one world economy. That's all economies of the world. They're controlled by the Roman Catholic Church. And this is really a hidden establishment. This is a hidden world, really. This is the real world order. It's ruled by Vatican Knights. And of course there's many of them across Europe that people are not even aware of. You have many papal knighthood orders. For instance, you have the Order of the Golden Fleece, That's ruled at the top by King John Carlos of Spain, another monarchy that governs Europe. King John Carlos. He's a Knight of Malta, and he oversees the Order of the Golden Fleece. This is what must be exposed, not just that the Jesuit general controls world politics, or the politicians, for instance, the Jesuit alumni like Obama and Herman von Rompuy. They're really don't have power. They don't have power, not when it comes to this structure. This structure is the top structure. It's the Jesuit general and his provincials that control the monarchies. And the monarchies, they are the ones that control these orders, knighthood orders. Even the Grand Masters themselves are under the monarchies.